dead will walk the earth.
We are down to the line, folks. We are down to the line.
Dawn of the Dead.
Today, on a very special episode of Unauthorized Personnel, we're celebrating the 45th anniversary of the 1978 George A. Romero movie, Dawn of the Dead, by going back to the places where the movie was filmed, including the world-famous Monroeville Mall. We'll also be visiting the Monroeville Airport, as well as taking you with us on a journey through the incomparable Living Dead Museum. Dawn of the Dead was filmed primarily at the Monroeville Mall in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It was Romero's second movie in his Living Dead series, which started in 1968 with the movie Night of the Living Dead. Dawn of the Dead has gone on to be a much-loved classic among the horror genre. Unlike the many other horror movies that were designed to predominantly scare the audience, Romero took a different tack. His subversive use of sub-narratives weave together a story of consumerism, racism, social justice issues, women's rights issues, and human rights issues. As a result, the movie provides a scathing indictment of the cultural apathy of the time, as well as the inhumanity of humanity. Though this episode isn't necessarily our typical urban exploration fare, at least one of the locations is abandoned and has been for years. While our predominant focus is typically on abandoned places, we're flipping the script for this episode and focusing on filming locations. For those who may be confused, no worries. We'll be back to exploring abandoned places in our next episode. For now, join us as we step back to 1978 and we give the exceptional work of George A. Romero our love and appreciation.
We're here at the Monroeville Airport. This is the airport where you see in the movie where they land the helicopter to refuel on their way to the mall. A lot of this is still the same, actually, surprisingly enough. You can see behind me, there's still the helipad that's featured in the movie. This is also the helipad where the one zombie loses the top of his head. Behind me, right here, is the building that's featured in the movie where Peter gets in trouble on the inside of the building looking for supplies. And in the meantime, killing a few stray zombies, including a couple little children zombies, which was kind of a shocking moment in the movie, but there you have it.
When our four protagonists are flying toward the airport to refuel their chopper, they fly over a rural area where you can see groups of military people and residents of the area mobilizing to kill zombies. You can see this street as well as these two houses in the background.
the location of the Monroeville Mall where the trucks, the barricading trucks for the movie came down the hill right over here. This used to be an A&P grocery store behind me. And then if you zoom back over to our light here, this was changed. It used to be number 30. They have changed their lights and their numberings to different numbers. Then when we focus back behind Steve, it's the Monroeville Mall entrance where they start barricading the property from the zombies. And that's right over there. We're at the location where the motorcycle club that was invading the mall to attack the zombies and of course rob the mall. But there was a famous shooting of one of the zombies right in this location up against this wall. It's in the film, which you will see. We'll supply a clip.
And you can also see that rock.
Yeah, the rock is right here, and it's in that clip, and of course the blood splatter.
Over this way,
Yep. And
we have the entrance that you see multiple times in various shots. This is also the entrance where I think you see the zombies that are all congregating on the outside.
yeah.
And I guess we'll go into the mall. And here we have Bill recreating the big belly zombie outside. This is the hallway where the motorcycle gang makes their entrance, and also where you see the Volkswagen hatchback that they're driving around the mall. This area here used to be one of the mall fountains that were featured in the movie, and it was right outside of what was formerly Horns, which is now Macy's. So yeah, we got the H&M, which was the lower portion of JCPenney, and then if I tilt up here a little bit, in this area here, in one part of the movie, we can see everyone kind of standing at the top over the rail, and there's the JCPenney in the background, but the JCPenney is no longer there in the background for a good reason, because they moved. This particular area here, you won't recognize from the movie, but there is a good reason for that, and it's because this was the second floor of JCPenney, which is now a hallway leading to Cinemark, which is the new movie theater that they built recently in the mall. But this would have been right about the area where the famous escalator scene where Roger slides down from the second floor to the first floor would have taken place.
This is where the cheese board was, where they got supplies and food from during one of the scenes in the film.
Yeah, it's also the store where they found the big loaf of bread, and Peter says, "Manja." I'm going to attempt to recreate one of the famous scenes in this movie here, and it involves this escalator. We'll see if it works. So right about where I'm standing right now is where the scene in the movie with the motorcycle gang members coming along here, and there's a motorcycle with a sidecar, and I'm totally messing this up, and this is where a zombie gets it in the head with a machete, basically. So what you're looking at right now, this leggings place, used to be a restaurant called Pomodoro's, and it was the restaurant where Stephen and Francine are having their special dinner served by Peter, and he proposes to Francine.
This is where Roger was buried, in the garden area within the mall.
So right at this corner here, you can see where the Pure Oils is and where this candle store is. This Pure Oils place used to be an Equibank, and right next door was the Brown Derby.
It's the long portion of the mall where the phones were, and kind of like a hideaway. Also, there was a couple killing scenes down here as well.
This used to be Foxmore, and is now Bath and Body Works, not Bed Bath & Beyond. So this area right here that we're standing in, right outside of the new location of JCPenney. In the movie, this is where the clock tower was standing, in this particular part of the mall. And it probably went up about halfway, probably even, I don't know, probably even higher, halfway to the ceiling, which is still recognizable from the movie. The skylights are actually one feature of the mall that make it unmistakably where the movie was filmed, because the skylights have not changed over the years. Here we are in the Monroeville Mall. This is the Living Dead Museum. How cool is this?
Wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, we go. How cool. What a thing to see. Like, this is pretty amazing. That guy's not looking so happy, but you know, well, yeah, I guess you're not very happy when you're a zombie.
This convening this conference of the presidential cabinet, the FBI, Joint Chiefs of Staff, the CIA does
it's
not
the
produce any
announcements.
public information. Why are space experts being consulted about an earthbound emergency? Could that radiation be somehow responsible for the wholesale murders we're now suffering?
Who knows? However, I know who this guy is.
Civil defense officials in Cumberland have
This
told
guy
Houston that murder victims
is the first
should
zombie in the movie, but
partially
his name
devoured
was
by their
actually Bill Heinzman, and I did a live performance of Night of the Living Dead with Bill Heinzman when he was alive. And I hope I can still find the pictures of us in zombie makeup,
Oh, cool.
because I was one of the key zombies
Oh, cool.
in the Night of the Living Dead live production that
Oh,
that he
wow.
put on. Oh my God, that's where it is. Oh yeah, that's amazing. So
is cool.
this is the actual elevator. Well, at least the facade of the elevator anyway, that was in JCPenney that Steven turned into a zombie in this elevator.
There's the official SWAT team rifle, gas mask. That we use for props.
Yeah.
There's the TV. From the portable TV at JCPenney.
Prop-alike. It's a prop-alike. This is so cool. What do we have here?
There's the leg with the hydraulics for the blood to spit out.
Oh, wow. This is amazing. Poor Steven. He tried so hard. And that's what he got for his
Right.
efforts. You know, he just got the shaft. And all the zombies on the outside. This is so cool. How cool is it that they're letting us film in here too?
And I think it's just so appropriate here.
Yeah, this is amazing. I mean, where else would you?
I forgot about this.
Zach and Miri make a porno. Yeah, that was filmed in here, as was Flashdance.
Right.
Yeah, Flashdance was actually, portions of Flashdance were filmed, and portions of Zach and Miri were filmed here.
escalator from JC.
Oh, they got a piece of it.
Yep.
How amazing. Yeah, so we can't show you where the escalator was, but, well, we did, but, but you can't see where he slid down the escalator or anything, so. This was,
Interior mall.
they got the original light fixtures that were in the mall. This was, there's the clock tower. Now, okay, so you can see, like, how far up that clock tower actually went. It was, like, about halfway between the second floor and the ceiling.
And there's a better shot in the little photos over there, too.
Oh, yeah, right there. Yep, there it is, the clock tower.
Yep, and those are the lights there behind us.
Yeah.
These over here.
The thing was ginormous. Oh, we've got actually some of the waterfalls and stuff too, like the fountains and the. How amazing! That is just so cool.
And there's the map of all the scenes, all the major scenes.
Yep.
And then they have like even a kind of like a little breakdown. There's the pennies where they're standing in front. Lower portion. There's my favorite scene.
The blood pressure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just missing the sombrero.
Sombrero. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. How amazing. That's so cool. This is basically dedicated to like his filmography. Yeah. I mean, you cannot deny the man's impact on the horror film genre.
It's in the early days.
I mean, George Romero is just a genius as far as I'm
That's
concerned.
fantastic. Got the steel building behind him.
Oh, wow.
Gradually, the age process.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, the man is just a cinematic genius as far as I'm concerned.
He's a great storyteller.
Great storyteller. Yeah.
He even talked about social issues that.
And he did it in a way that was like incredibly subversive too.
Right.
Mall of Fame.
That's the 2004 version,
Oh yeah,
which confused me.
that's the Zack Snyder version.
It's good, but it just confused me.
It's okay, but it doesn't have the magic of the original, I don't think.
Right.
I mean, they're coming to get you, Barbara.
The Mall of Fame. Oh, Bill Cardell.
Yeah. You know, his daughter was criminally underrated as far as an actress goes. Like Return of the Living Dead. Those were some interesting movies as well. Although,
I think I had that poster on my wall.
Night of the Living Dead.
I got that from the drive-in theater up in Oil City.
Yeah.
The guy said, "Oh, you can have that. You really like it because we're going to take it down." And I rolled it up and I left there like the happiest kid on the face of the earth.
Oh, we got Bub in here.
Bub is in there?
Bub's in here. There he is.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Bub. He's not looking so happy either. Yeah. And we get somehow Michael Jackson.
That would be me in the corner. I'd be Bub. Another reason is because I would make sure I'd have headphones on.
I'm trying to place some of these other ones here. Wow. So much zombie stuff. Zombie survival guide. This was the picture that was on my Night of the Living Dead poster.
Yeah, but
that
I think I went to that event.
That was the
event in Pittsburgh to film.
This was, they've got like set props this is from Mindhunter.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Cool.
The plane,
Oh, what's this stuff in the thing?
jet airplane cabin set.
Right.
Ash versus Evil Dead. That was a funny show.
Yeah, that was. Oh wow.
Good old Ashy Slashy.
Evil Dead. How to get out.
Yeah.
Cabin doors.
Klaatu, Barata, Nikto.
Ah, the chainsaw.
Oh. Yeah. Proper Lakes.
And then the maps. The little, the story things they had to say.
Yeah.
Raising the dead in the paper. What's it say? The Allison. Is that 4 of those?
The tape, reel-to-reel tape machine that has the invocation on it that sets the evil demon things free. Wow. That's the work cabin.
At the end of the day, there were so many more points of interest that we could have focused on. But the reality of filming in a crowded mall, with people walking into our shots, was a frustrating situation that reminded us of why we enjoy filming abandoned places so much. It was still a great experience and something that we likely won't forget in the near future. We both consider ourselves huge Romero fans, and so doing a project like this was something that both of us felt called to do. We hope that you enjoyed your time with us today, and we look forward to seeing you again on the next episode of Unauthorized Personnel.